So it's now been some time since I posted my review on why I left RBC for EQ Bank, and that video started a massive conversation in the comments about where to actually park your cash. It's obvious that the big banks currently are a bit of a rip-off, but the real debate now is between the two heavy hitters, Wealthsimple versus EQ Bank. Let me explain. If you're looking for a place to keep your emergency fund, money that needs to be saved but also needs to be earning a little more than 0.01%, this is the choice you're likely making. As we move through the year, the interest rate war between these two has only gotten tighter. So today, I want to break down the reality of both platforms so you can decide which one deserves your hard-earned savings. In my original EQ Bank review, I talked about how much I love the checking savings hybrid that EQ offers. EQ Bank is still the king of simplicity here. Your personal account is one single bucket. You earn high interest on every dollar, but you can also pay bills and send e-transfers directly from the same balance. So there is no transferring back and forth, there is no juggling. Wealthsimple Cash has caught up significantly. It also offers a single account for spending and saving. However, Wealthsimple feels a bit more like a financial hub. It's designed to pull you into their ecosystem, which is investing, crypto, and taxes. If you want a dedicated bank feel without overwhelming yourself, EQ still wins in my opinion. If you want a more premium fintech feel, I suppose you can call it, Wealthsimple would probably be the move. But this is what most of you actually care about. In 2025, EQ was leading the pack, but what about 2026? EQ actually offers a solid base rate that's, especially if you have a direct deposit setup, that is actually higher than even the Wealthsimple generation rate, which you have to have 500,000 deposited there. So I am always slightly hesitant about Wealthsimple in this case. And as I mentioned, the tiered system is a little bit interesting. So if you're a core client, you get this specific rate. If you hit premium, which is $100,000 in assets, or generations, which is $500,000 in assets, your rates jump fairly significantly. But the fact that baseline is lower than it is in EQ, I would say considerably lower, is something to think about. So for an emergency fund of $10,000 to $20,000, EQ Bank is usually a little bit easier set and forget it option. But if you already have a lot of money invested with Wealthsimple and you have a larger portfolio, simple premium and generation rates are pretty good. But once again, that's a lot of money you need to have invested. One of my favorite things about the EQ Bank card is the ATM reimbursement. If you're in Canada and use an ATM that charges you $3, $4, $5, EQ would essentially reimburse you. It makes any ATM in Canada your personal ATM, essentially. You get all the fees waived. Wealthsimple has followed suit with their own card, and as I mentioned before, they even started experimenting with international fee reimbursements, which is a big win if you're traveling a lot. I mean, it's a no-brainer. However, EQ's domestic ATM reimbursements is still the most seamless, no questions asked experience, in my opinion. So if you find yourself needing a physical cash often in Canada in your day-to-day life, EQ has a slight edge here. But if you travel more, I would say go ahead and pick Wealthsimple MasterCard. So I get asked all the time, is my money actually safe in these banks? And I mean, it's a good question. You don't really see any EQ branches or Wealthsimple branches, at least not where I live. Maybe in Toronto? Don't know, never been. Maybe one day when Andrey calls me to hang out. Or the weekend. Or Nav. Anyways, back to the topic. Look, EQ Bank is a Schedule I Canadian bank. That means all your deposits are CDIC insured up to $100,000 per insured category. Wealthsimple is not a bank itself, so it's a little different, but they partner with several CDIC member banks to hold your cash. And because they spread your money across multiple partner banks, they can actually offer a much higher CDIC coverage. If you have a massive emergency fund, first of all, good for you if you have more than 100K just sitting there just in case. Wealthsimple actually offers some protection, more protection than standard EQ account. But also keeping 100K as an emergency fund, depending on your spending, I guess, it's a tricky one. Hopefully you're investing a little bit of money too. So as we move through the year, my stance has slightly shifted. I would say stick with EQ if you want a dedicated, simple banking account with all the bank account features that just works. And if you aren't an investor yet, or you just want to kind of separate this two, you just want your emergency fund to be in a safe, high-interest bucket that lets you pay bills and grab cash anywhere, EQ is a simple winner. Then I would say switch to Wealthsimple if you want to consolidate everything, all your assets, and if you're already using Wealthsimple Trade or crypto, keeping your cash there allows you to move money instantly between your emergency fund and your investments. And if you can hit that premium tier or generation tier, first of all, once again, good for you. That's a lot of money. But the interest rate advantage in that case would make Wealthsimple a decent financial alternative for the emergency fund. But at the end of the day, both of these are light years better than RBC, TD, or Scotia. You're moving from losing your money to making money, and that's a real win here. So where do you keep your money for your emergency fund right now, even if it's not very big? Would you consider switching from a big 5 bank? Let me know down in the comments below. I'm curious to see which way the community is leaning. Considering it's personal finance, I'm assuming you already are doing this, but who knows? So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.